He turns 22 in a couple days. He's one of the best, very young players in this
Didn't
league.
2 years ago he gave the Cavs problems in the playoffs?
Absolutely right. Like, no,
That's
listen,
the same guy?
Miles Turner. Yes, this is a guy that he's been the second best player on right now the 5 seed in the East. We don't talk about.
That's the guy I'm used to seeing.
Yeah.
Take a look at Kelly Olynyk passing the ball through Kyle O'Quinn's legs to Josh Richardson. Do it again. Look, through the legs. Boom.
Man, everyone's always said Kelly Olynyk does 3 things great. Manicure that man bun, between the legs passes, and rip guys' shoulders out of socket.
I wasn't crazy about the hair last night.
No, I'm not a fan of that, of the man bun thing.
Not a fan of anything about Kelly Olynyk. I'm just saving it out there. Ripping guys' shoulders out.
He make too much money.
No,
Oh.
I didn't say that.
It's like, let me take out his contract here. I have it right here. It's not all butterflies and rainbows here on First Things First. Nuggets.
Okay.
Malik Beasley. What happened?
Now, last night, Malik Beasley made too much money.
Now, what was the worst part of that right there?
Is the teammates laughing at him?
What's the worst part, Nick?
Man, there's no player within 25 feet of him?
I think it's the last little part, because not only does he stumble twice, but watch the ball, just like the ball's got to let me touch you too. Before I go out of bounds, you're it.
Man, if you see the score bug in the bottom right-hand corner.
The players are laughing, dude falls twice, but the ball said, let me touch you one more time before I go out of bounds.
The best defense the Bulls played all night.
It has been an intriguing offseason for Dez Bryant when it comes to his future with the Cowboys. Will he take a pay cut? Will he change his game? Will he work on his game? Will he even still be on the Cowboys? So many questions so early in the morning. But it seems that Dez is looking to make improvements as he's planning to work with a personal wide receivers coach next month, focusing on his route running. CC, what does this all mean?
Well, for one, I'm glad that Dez admitted that he needed some type of help. That's the first way to go about it. But I'm just shocked in year number 9. Dez is going to be 30 this year. Like, this is the first time that he started working with a wide receiver coach. Like, what has he been doing up to this point? Like, all the elite wide receivers are working with someone. So for me, that also is an answer of why I thought Dez Bryant was going to be a superstar. Like, I really thought 3 or 4 years ago, that was just the beginning of the arc that he was going to be on, that was going to have him be one of the most dominant receivers in the NFL for 8 years, at least 6 to 8 years. We didn't see that. So when you talk about you're starting to hire, or you're going to be working with a wide receiver coach or a guru, I'm wondering, what was your off-season training before? So for me, so much about being a good football player is how do I improve every off-season? And I haven't seen that in Dez Bryant. So that's caught up to him. So now at a later stage of his career, he's going to decide to start working on his routes. So his athletic ability, it's gone down a little bit. His speed's gone down a little bit. And now he's starting to work on it. To me, that is, he is not handling his talent the way it should have. He should have been working with someone on his route running when he was at the peak of his career 3 or 4 years ago. That's what the greatest players do.
What was your off seasons like? What were your off seasons like? Once you were the Chris Carter we know now, with the Vikings, once you made 3 or 4 Pro Bowls, what were the off seasons like?
I took 4 weeks off from training. All right, and that was either from the Pro Bowl, which is typically the last week. It's the week after the Super Bowl, so it's about the second week in February. I take 4 weeks off. Then I start doing non-weight-bearing exercises. I work out hard for 4 weeks, and then I start back my interval training and my weightlifting once we start April 1st. Once I get to May, I start working on my route running and my ability to catch the football. I do it in segments. Actually, my trainer is who Antonio Brown has hired as his trainer a while ago. Larry Fitzgerald, his personal trainer, Bill Welly, he's the guy that worked for me and trained me when I was training at the peak of my career. So guys who are still involved with the top receivers, those were the guys who trained me, and we worked on every aspect. But we used to make a list of things that I didn't do well. If it was a route, if it was an exercise, if it was a muscle group. And we put those things at the top of the list. For that offseason, those were the things that we would concentrate on. Myself and Brian Billick, myself and Chip Myers and other wide receiver coaches, Tom Moore, what I would do every year is give them, going into training camp, the routes the previous year that I was not good at, and the routes that I had worked on that offseason, and how I wanted to implement them into the offense and show the coaches that I was better at those routes, and I wanted them to develop more confidence in me running those routes.
All right, I wanted to ask you about someone else, because I do want to remind the audience who Dez Bryant was at one point in his career, and it wasn't a very short period. For 3 years, his years 3, 4, 5, here were his averages: 91 catches, 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns. That's dominant. That is fully dominant. So but he has not been that guy since then. Since then, he's averaged 50 catches, 670 yards, and less than 6 touchdowns. A guy that's maintained it, Larry Fitzgerald. He's doing what we're hearing about Dez doing now this offseason. Those are the types of things those guys do.
Larry Fitzgerald has at least 4 to 6 wide receivers, former wide receivers, and a couple coaches. Myself, Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice, other wide receivers, and a couple coaches. They come in a 2-month period that he calls, that's his personal training camp in Minnesota. He does that from June until the second week of July before he goes to training camp.
But with regards to Dez, what I'm hearing from you is a little bit of maybe too little too late from him, just as far as this late into your career, first starting to hone those skills that'll make you a better route runner?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm just surprised that it's taken this long. Like, at what point did he look at and didn't think that he didn't need to get better? I believe there's still a chance for him, because at 30, you're still young enough to be able to make improvements. But if I was working with Dez, what I would do is work on 2 aspects, and those are 2 aspects I believe are the most important. They would be his releases off the line. I would be able to get him cleaner releases, and at the top of the route, because he's not real fast, but he is physical. How do I create more separation at the top? So if I was working with Dez, I'd work with the start and the finish of the routes. I believe that would make him a lot better. I wouldn't think about the slot. I wouldn't think about adding other routes. Those 2 things right now I would have him concentrate on, because those are 2 things that would be able to help him out.
Right now, Dez Bryant is at home going cleaner releases, start and finish.
If it came from Chris Carter, he ain't gonna listen to it.
Okay, coming up, you should. Is this the best LeBron has ever played? That's next on First Things First. Debatable. Not so much.